Hey Solo, so you want to go to Epic Universe all by yourself. And number one, you're looking for a travel agent to help you. And number two, you wonder what that experience is like going solo. Well, solo spoiler, not only do I have another solo story for you about Epic Universe, but this one is also with a travel agent. So it comes with a handy set of contact information if you need help planning your Epic Universe vacation. Hi everyone, it's Samantha. Olaf may not know who Samantha is, but now you do, and welcome to Disney Solo Magic, the number one podcast for solo travel to Disney World, now in its second year. Also, this weekend, known as Epic Universe Solo Magic, and it's definitely the number one podcast for Epic Universe solo travel. Nobody beats us. Nobody beats us at all. Anyway, this has been just such a fun series. It's been fun connecting with some new people. It's been fun talking with some awesome people. It's been so fun learning about Epic Universe, and I have really enjoyed this series, and I hope that you enjoy the series as well. Today, I'm talking with Brittany. She is just so wonderful. She's so lovely. She's so full of energy. And she talks about what it was like to go to Epic Universe solo and then do some research in order to help her clients who she works with as a travel agent, but then also go the next day with some people and what that experience was like. And I thought it was just such a great overview of her experience at the park. And because actually it was the first interview I did, it is very much for me like a bit of a blank slate. It's only now listening to the other 3 episodes where I actually understand more of what she was saying, and I had such a pleasure editing it as much as I had a pleasure recording it, and I know you're going to have a wonderful time listening to it. You can connect with Brittany on all of her social media. Those are down in the description below. And you can also connect with me on social media. I am on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook. All those links are below. You can also listen to this on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube. Those links are below as well. It is wonderful, so helpful, so wonderful to see you subscribe and rate and review and all that stuff. It really just helps build the profile of the podcast and keeps it at that number one spot. So thank you so much. This podcast also has a Patreon, and the best thing I think about the Patreon is that you get to watch the conversations that I have with people for the solo stories. And I don't know, I think that's really cool. They're unedited, so you just get to see us laughing. The problem with Zoom sometimes is when you're just kind of laughing and you can't hear that necessarily, but to be able to watch it just, I think, really makes the conversations all that much better. So please go on to Patreon. There's a 7-day free trial, so you can check it out. And the Patreon price has changed. It's now $5 Canadian or $4 American. So that's basically $1 or $1.25 each week. I don't know. I think that's an excellent deal, especially coming up because it's going to be a whole month of solo stories. It's been just a wide variety of people talking about so many different things. I'm just really excited. I'll just let you know now. The next episode is going to be a solo story on Disneyland. That's going to come out on Tuesday. There's also going to be a solo story about going to all of the Asian Disney parks in one trip. There's going to be a solo story about being a mother who is solo parenting on a Disney trip. It's a really wonderful collection of stories, and I cannot wait for you to hear them and see them as well as you become a member of Patreon. But let's not worry about Patreon right now. Just go on and click, and that's fine. Let's not worry about Patreon right now or the other Disney solo stories. Let's just focus on Epic Universe. Go over to the conversation with Britt. Make sure you follow her. Make sure you contact her. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Bye. Hello, Brittany. I'm so glad. This is the quickest turnaround that I have done between just doing a call out and interviewing someone. So I'm really, really excited to talk with you about Epic Universe. So welcome to Disney Solo Magic, or Epic Universe Solo Magic, the way this weekend is. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany. I live in Florida, so I'm about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes from all the parks in Orlando.
Thanks.
And
Thanks for starting real boastfully.
I'm sorry, I had to do it. I do it every time. My friends and family it basically is the only reason why I can get my family to visit is if we go to the parks, which is not a bad thing for me. So
Yeah, right. So can you introduce yourself a little bit more? I know you are also connected with like travel planning and things like that for Disney, or not for Disney, for all travel.
yeah, so I have been in the travel planning realm for the last th almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years this weekend, which is wild.
Wow.
And I am able to plan any Universal trip, Disney World, Disneyland, cruises, pretty much wherever you want to go, I will make sure it happens. So
And is that why you got to be part of the previews? Or you just like
yes,
hung
and
outside the gate to be like, oh, someone just want to swipe me in?
I wish, but no, unfortunately, I don't have that big of a pool. Um, no, I did get the opportunity through my travel agency to get a chance to go preview the park. I am actually also a Universal Pass holder, so I took 2 days. I spoiled myself with 2 days and went and did it. So I got to do one day on my own to kind of figure it all out before I met up with friends the next day who are also travel agents, and we had a ball. So
That's so great. So I really appreciate your like that you'll be able to kind of compare like the solo experience versus going in a group. And I mean, I guess it's new for you, it's new for everyone. So some of that like novice new energy I think is like good for people exploring this brand new world. Um so tell us about Epic Universe, especially as someone who went by themselves first to check it all out.
so honestly, it was a lot. It was actually really overwhelming in the best way possible. So I had a general gist of what all the lands were going to be like. I'm married to a gamer and I play Mario Kart a lot, so I was very excited for that. How to Train Your Dragon, the IP for that is a big part of my family. And Dark Universe, I'm not the biggest Halloween girly in the world, but I walked out of there and I absolutely loved that was one of my favorite portals, in my opinion,
Ooh.
which is saying a lot because my husband, my friends, my family could tell you, like, hey, you do not do scary. And I loved both Monsters Unchained and Curse of the Werewolf. Those rides were really, really cool. And I'm also a giant Harry Potter person. So like second grade, Brittany read Harry Potter up till the last book, whenever that was, and I feel so old and I can't remember. But that new Harry Potter Battle at the Ministry ride was as challenging to get the virtual queue as everyone has been saying, and
Mm.
but 100% that queue made me cry like in the best way possible. So it was really, really cool. Um, Mario World is just a giant version of the video game. It's as simple as that. It
And
was so much fun.
have you seen the Mario Worlds in like in the Asian parks or in California? How did it compare?
So basically, so my references to those are I watch YouTube just like everyone else does, and exactly the same, honestly.
Cool.
It's a little mix of both the Universal Hollywood, so it has the Bowser's Challenge Castle, which is really, really cool. And then Yoshi's Adventure and Donkey Kong Country are both aspects from Universal Japan. So really cool, in my opinion. So knowing that I was going during a preview, everyone's like, hey, there may be some quirks along the way. Things might not be fully operational. And that was 100% true. Um, Donkey Kong Minecart Madness, for example, was one of those. Um, children, as I like to say, but absolutely worth it just because the technology is so different from what we know from Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. It's not necessarily just like you're riding around on this giant arm and staring at a screen the entire time. It's more or less like it's a roller coaster that mimics the idea of you jumping and all sorts of stuff happens. I don't want to spoil it. So, um, but the technology was very, very cool. And I'm into that type of stuff just because that's just who I am. Um, but solo, being there by myself, I wasn't fazed by the fact that I was by myself. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm by myself, whatever. I had a few goals in mind that day in particular, just because I eventually want to bring my husband. I want my family to come. I want my friends to come. I have clients that are asking me about it. So I wanted to make sure I had all my ducks in a line, for lack of a better term, and just checking out what was family friendly, how does Celestial Park actually work? And it's a giant, really, really European-esque hub, just
Right.
like
Yeah.
Disney in that regard.
Did
So
you say just like
that
Disney?
sort of, kind
Did
of
did you say that though?
I may have.
Okay. Because I was like, huh, really? A large European style hub. I don't know if I can like place that at Disney. So no, it's fine. But I was like,
it
where do
so the
you mean?
So it like you enter into Celestial Hub and then you go to the left. There's the Mario. It's Mario World. I'm doing this from memory.
It's okay.
And I believe it's Dark Universe are on the left, and then to the right, you're able to go to How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk portal, and then in the corner it's Harry Potter and the Ministry of Magic area portals. So it's kind of like a spoke in a
Right. Yeah,
way.
yeah. Oh, so I guess
So
you mean like a Magic Kingdom, that type of spoke.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, okay. Yeah. Cool.
With Helio's like right smack in the center. It's really, really pretty in person. It's so pretty. And I'm like, oh my God, it's kind of intimidating, honestly. Um,
That's such a cool feeling, I think, especially for people that are familiar with going to different parks, Disney, Universal, to like really see something kind of new and breathtaking, right, is really exciting. And I think especially when you're going by yourself, and if especially when people are like a little anxious, and this might be like a big trip for them first to just kind of acknowledge like yeah you might feel overwhelmed coming in but that like that is a feeling that everyone kind of gets like that's the way it was designed.
oh, absolutely. I drove in. So I live hour 45 from Universal
I know
specifically.
you
I
said
stayed.
thanks, Brittany.
Sorry. I
I
drove
live
in
a quick
earlier
3 hour flight away.
Hey, that's not bad either.
No, actually
Um,
it isn't bad. I know it isn't that bad. It's actually just like the getting to the airport that is the worst part
yeah.
of my trip. Yeah, yeah,
Nah, I gotcha.
yeah.
So drove in that morning. I ended up staying at Cabana Bay for the
Oh
weekend.
yeah.
So I started my adventure there. There was a bus stop. There are bus stops going to be at each resort. I found out this information and, tried to be knowledgeable. And it was probably maybe a 15-20 minute bus ride. And they have
Okay.
their own bus lanes. So that was, you avoid all the crazy I-4 West traffic. Basically, on your left, as you're getting closer, start to see bits and pieces of Epic, Helios in particularly. And then straight ahead, you'll see Stella Nova and Terra Luna resorts because they're bright, beautiful rainbows and cannot miss them. Trust me. And then you just get this feeling of like, oh my God, this is happening. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And then I just took a giant big breath and I'm like, all right, Britt, here we go. And I wore sunglasses for reasons, and I what the cool thing about it too, the entrance is hidden. So from the buses, so you get off the bus and you round a corner, and then all of a sudden, like the gate is there, and then all of a sudden, like security's there, and then the Kronos Tower is right there, and I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. And then you're just like, oh my God, it's right there. Like right there. Like it's staring at me in the face. This is happening. And that's exactly what I felt like. And you walk under the tower, and I'm getting emotional yet again. I'm just thinking about
We were
it.
very open to emotion here on the Solo Magic podcast. It is kind of a feature of so many stories. I did this one solo story and I said, well, like, what's your favorite thing to do at Disney when you're going solo? And she's like, I think just cry. I think just like do your own thing and like feel your own
Yeah.
feelings. And I was like, yes, I totally get that.
Yeah, and the same can be said with Epic.
Okay, great. So if you need a good cry,
It's
everyone, that's what Epic is for.
absolutely. Especially when most of your childhood stems around Mario, like mine was, and I'm going into the tunnel for the first time and I get to the top and I'm just like, wow, oh my God, this is
It's so
incredible.
funny that you say that because I am not really connected to any Universal IP at all. Like maybe Jurassic Park, um, but I have always really wanted to see the Super Mario Land because like growing up, my grandfather used to play it. And this weekend, I think right after we booked our time to talk, I was thinking about going to Epic Universe, what it was like. And I'm like, I think I would just go into Super Mario Land and just sob. Like really just like
Mhm.
hysterically cry because of the memories that it just like brings up. So, okay, good to know that that is a crying spot.
Yeah. And the kind of the cool thing with Mario in particular is it was all ages. So it was like little kids with their
Mm,
parents. The parents looked to be around maybe my age, maybe a little bit
yeah.
older, who had that nostalgia of like, I grew up playing these Mario games as a child, and now my kid gets to do it. And this is so cool. Like, I'm passing this down to my kid, and this is what my kid's gonna now know. I cried at I bawled like a baby, literally, when I got to ride Battle of the Ministry. That queue, I have no words, actually. It is that, like, that's insane what they did in the best way possible. It made it, as they say, ugly cry very, very hard.
You've talked about a couple rides now, and it seems like Epic Universe is kind of like really welcoming for solos because there just seems like there's a lot of single rider lines.
Oh, absolutely. I rode Monsters
That's great.
Unchained. Yes, I rode Monsters Unchained in the solo line. It was great. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. That's one of my favorite rides at Epic, honestly. Um, they, I think Universal realizes like, hey, there are people who go by themselves. No problem with that. I do it all the time. I don't mind it at all, actually. I absolutely love it. And, people may not have that significant other that enjoys rides, or family members who may be a little short for a roller coaster or two. So just being able to offer that extra little perk, in my opinion, to be able to still enjoy themselves at Epic is pretty cool, in my
And
opinion.
I've heard that Universal Studios also has kind of tight-ish ride vehicles, so that if you are a person who is of size, that there are places that you can try if the ride vehicle is comfortable for your body before you get into the line. Did you notice that at Epic Universe?
I did. They had it at majority of the rides, actually, not
Oh, that's
all.
great. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
And
you had said
from
like
what
about short, but I think it's also about like other different ways that a body can be, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like every ride was comfortable for me. And I did just read recently that I think they're putting more accessibility friendly, like if someone is a little bit, a little bit bigger, which is
Yeah.
fine. They're still going to be able to enjoy the ride, and they just need to go and maybe into a normal, like the normal roller coaster style seats in the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
back. Usually, like some of the rides are starting to get those added now, which I think it might be a little close too close to opening, but
Yeah, that's right. They're like,
that's okay.
oh,
So
oops. I mean, I think they have that at Tron. I've never done Tron. I'm not super interested in it, but someone was like, it's not because, it's because of the ride. It's not because of
yeah,
my body in the ride necessarily. But someone's like, well, you could try it in one of those accessibility seats because that way you're at least not facing down. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So it's good to know that there's single rider lines. You can check how your body is
Mhm.
comfortable in the spaces before you go, and that it could be extended to have greater accessibility, which would be great so that all the fans can,
Absolutely,
as
yeah.
many fans as possible,
Yeah.
can appreciate the rides.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want everyone to get to Epic because it is I'm trying to figure out when to go back, honestly.
I
That's
love
kind of
that. I
been
love
on my
that.
mind because I'm like, all right, I have my wedding anniversary coming up, so I can't go then, but it's really hot right now, so I'm
I
not ready to
heard.
deal with
Yeah.
I it's
Yeah.
it's summertime here officially. So
Yeah.
it's warm, pack the coolie towels and fans.
So, was there any part of the park or any of the individual lands that felt particularly welcoming or unwelcoming for people who were there on their own?
As much as I've been talking about Mario World, it doesn't it at least for me,
Uh-huh.
I feel like that's a very family friendly area
Mm.
to the point that you it makes you feel a little awkward when you're like
Okay.
invading someone, kids first trip, whatever, that the family experiencing the land themselves because it's
Mm.
like I'm in my 30s. I'm pretty, I'm older in comparison to, a young kid running around trying to use their power up band to play the games. And I look like the giant goofball running around like them. I did get a power up band, by the way. Um,
Excellent. I'm very happy to
I
hear that.
I had to do it. So I, was playing the games just like everyone else is, and I could just feel the glares of like, okay, why is this girl doing this? And I'm like, okay, we're just gonna stay away, maybe do this tomorrow when I'm with my friends, and which that's ultimately what ended up happening.
Mm.
But
Yeah, I
Dark
mean,
Universe though,
I guess I'm thinking like because it's such a bright, peppy land, right? Like that there is an element that could be very appealing for children, even if they don't know the Mario story. And so that if you are going to like have it touch like your own inner child, then there just might seem to be a little bit of that tension and like a little at first, like I'm sure
yeah,
there were elements of that at certain parts of Disney, but then, everyone just kind of like figures itself out. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, ugly cry in Super Mario World, but maybe like turn and face a wall so you don't scare
pretty
the
much. But Dark Universe is the complete opposite.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's because of, Universal, that was their initial like moneymaker movies, all those old school Dracula, Frankenstein, uh,
Yeah.
those types of movies, are why Universal it is the way it is today. So, or one of many reasons, obviously, but it very much caters to adults for sure. Like
Okay.
there's a lot of adult friendly bars and lounges for mom and dad and people who like to partake in those um particular things as options for food. The Burning Blade Tavern was one of my favorite places to go check out, and
Cool.
the blade on the windmill on the tavern actually lights up, like it flames up, and it's really cool, in my opinion. That's probably why I really liked it the most. It actually felt very inviting just for someone just kind of poking around, figuring it all out, and not trying to be overstimulated, but I ended up being
Mm,
overstimulated.
yeah.
So,
Well, that's a really great tip. That's a really great tip because I was going to ask you like what surprised you most about being solo, and it seems like maybe an element of that was the dark universe stuff.
yeah. And then I spent a lot of time in Dark Universe. I spent a lot of time in Harry Potter because that's a giant part of my childhood.
Yeah.
I cried there again.
Yeah, I
I
hear
did
that
a lot of
happens all the
crying.
time. I
I
love it. Again,
did
we're
a lot of
very pro
crying.
crying here.
um, Harry Potter. I think with Harry Potter specifically, the ambient music was a lot of Harry Potter music, and I was just like, oh my God, this is me. I I was just like, oh my God. And all the new magic that they have there, which I wasn't able to do quite yet. I think my that's my plan for my husband and I. We're Harry Potter people, so we're gonna go play in Harry Potter and go perform spells, hopefully.
Well, I feel like you
And
should go for your anniversary.
right, that's what I
Yeah,
think too.
totally.
But tickets are sold out, so
Oh,
that's my
okay.
own.
All right. Okay. Fair, fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
There's
that bit.
that.
I've been looking and then realizing I'm like, oh crap, I should have did this a long time ago, but that's okay. Um, but it it's still an incredible park regardless. If you go by yourself or with friends, family, like I'm ready to bring my niece is almost 4 and she's going to lose her mind in the best way possible in How to Train Your Dragon because
Awesome.
that's another very kid friendly area. So
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Are there particular spots that you would recommend solos go and check out? Maybe like a place to eat or even just a place to like sit and like you said, kind of like be less overstimulated.
um there are a few now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, in Celestial Park in particular, there's a lot of sitting area. There's a lot of lounge areas more than I thought, obviously. It Celestial Park is laid out in such a way that you don't feel like you're right on top of the person next to you, like in the other parks, if that makes sense.
Yep.
It's giant and beautiful, absolutely 100% recommend go check it out. But um it's just like a bunch of benches and just different picnic tables. Just pick one of those out. And I just sat there. I was just like, okay, I'm here. Okay, we can do this. I was FaceTiming my family. I was FaceTiming some of my friends, and I'm like, guys, I'm here. And they're like, breathe. And I'm like, I'm trying. It's so hard. Because they know how much I was looking forward to being there.
Yeah.
Um, as far as food, there's so many options. It's kind of overwhelming. In How to Train Your in Isle of Burke, the mac and cheese in a bread cone, 100% guaranteed, delicious, absolutely recommend. In Harry Potter
Can I just say something
with
about that? So I've
yeah.
watched like 1.5 videos about Epic Universe, and I just was like, I had it on in the kitchen as I was like doing other chores. And I heard as I was walking through the kitchen, somebody said, oh, the mac and cheese in a bread thing, you can also mobile order at, and then they named another place. So I guess I'm just saying that. It's not necessarily a question unless you know what that other place is, but know that one could get that somewhere else if they just check the mobile
Yes.
order options. Do you know where it is? Do you know where the other
It's
place
at
is?
I do, and I can't think of the name on top of my head.
Okay, well, send it to me and
There
I will
are
put
two
it in the
locations. Yeah.
description of this
Yeah,
podcast. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
That's another giant thing of Epic. It's very, very heavy on the Universal app.
Mm-hmm.
This is coming straight from one of the bartenders at Burning Blade actually was telling me this. They're very focused on the mobile ordering experience more than ever at Epic. So just make sure your phone's charged. It's basically what I'm getting at. Phone charged, card hooked up to your account, whatever you need to do to make that work for you. Put your gift card in, whatever, however you plan to use money there. Definitely
Well,
the app is very much a priority there.
that's really good to know because I think that for some people who are going solo and maybe feel intimidated because I know a lot of people feel intimidated eating alone. They shouldn't, I understand,
Mhm.
but they should, like they shouldn't
Yeah.
just kind of shake it off. It's all fine, everyone. But if you're also like already kind of has some anxiety and then you're like standing in front of someone to order, you might get extra like anxious and blah. And so it's
Yeah.
so good to know that like look ahead of time, check your mobile order, and that they want you to do that, right? So,
Oh,
also, I talk
yes.
about this at Disney too. I don't know if this is the case at Epic. It probably is, but like if you just needed something small, you can order a kid's meal and you're not like standing in front of the cashier being like, my kid is in the other room. Where even though I don't think they definitely don't care at Disney. I'm sure it's the same at Universal.
Oh yeah, no. I ordered a kids meal at Mario at the Toadstool Cafe.
Yeah.
And honestly, for what I paid for that particular meal, I got more than the first my other friend who was this is now like I'm with my travel agent friends
Yeah.
and they paid double the price for this little piece of what I think it was a piece of chicken or something. And I think I just got a cheeseburger, honestly. It was like a cheeseburger kids meal because I know in the back of my head, I'm like, it was later in the day, so I didn't want to eat a lot because I knew there was a cake coming. And I got like a cheeseburger, a fry, broccoli, a little ear of corn, and this really cute chocolate covered Oreo that looked they dipped into gold to look like a coin
Adorable.
for
Okay,
like
so
10,
kids meals.
$13.
Yeah. I I
You get
will
all of
get
that.
yeah, I when I get like a kids meal for breakfast at like Pop Century, for example, I was like,
Oh
"Oh, I
yeah.
get this tiny little bottle of water and these oranges for later." Like, amazing.
Snacks. We like snacks.
Yeah, we love snacks. So is there anything, like, is there any particular tip that you would give someone who's going solo to Epic Universe? Anything that you should like warn them about? And I say that in quotes because I don't think there's any like real, and anything they should really like look forward to and like look for. So those are a couple questions. Yeah,
There's nothing. Basically, if you can do Disney solo, you're gonna be able to do this very easily.
perfect.
It's it's pretty and much interchangeable. Whatever you do at Disney, just know don't say, "Hey, Mickey," in this park, but you know what I mean. Don't get the IPs confused, but it happens sometimes. Um, I guess realistically, knowing that they focus in on the mobile app, just making sure you're more familiar with it because even I'm at home, I can't go into the Universal app right now and see what is being served at Toadstool Cafe. That information doesn't go into your app until you're physically in the park. That's a big thing I've noticed. So there's not so
Okay.
much time to prepare yourself for what food is being offered there, unless you dig very hard on the internet to find a menu. Um, I would say just like be cognizant of that just because
Is
you
that
might have
is that
food
a universal
allergies.
thing or is that the park is just opening and we don't want the app to crash thing?
That might be the park is brand new and they don't want it to crash yet.
Yeah. Because I'm just thinking like that doesn't make any sense, but unless you don't want, right? Because like all of us could now be on the app
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, well then that might change people depending on when you're going.
I hope.
Yeah.
And as far as the rides itself, Battle of the Ministry, I know for a fact has a single rider line. Um, Monsters Unchained has a single rider line. Minecart Madness has a single rider. Bowser's Challenge, the Mario Kart AR reality ride has a single rider line.
But some of those single rider lines miss the cues, right? So like I saw, like I said, that one video was like if you want to see the queue and all of that stuff, then just go through the regular line. And if you want to do it again, then do a single rider line.
Yeah, with Monsters Unchained in particular, you're not missing too much of the main
Okay.
stuff. You still see a lot of it, surprisingly, which I thought was pretty cool because normally you're taking around the back room and sure enough you're up in the front already. And then you're like, wait, I wanted to see like
Yeah.
that thing in the other room, but okay, whatever, I guess. Harry Potter is the same way, where you go through your own tunnel, and then you're able to still kind of see everything. As far as what you see in that particular queue, I don't know because I that was a day I went with my friends to go to ride the ride during the virtual queue craziness. And so I don't particularly know how
Yeah,
much of the
yeah.
cues
Well,
you
I
do
mean,
see
that's
versus what you don't see.
yeah, I mean that's again something that the video I watched was the Mammoth Club video, so people can watch that for
I
some of the
love Mammoth
extra. Yeah,
Club.
I know. So
I
people can
love
watch that for
them.
other some other information about the cues and stuff. And I also saw on that video that there is going to be a standby line for that ride as well, so that there's
Yeah.
a little less stress waiting, but less stress to get in line for it.
Yeah. Oh, I love Mammoth Club,
Yeah.
actually. They've taught me everything I know, basically, um, that I now disperse to the rest of the world. Um,
Well, a big shout out to Mammoth Club. And I talk about
absolutely,
Molly's videos
yes.
on all ears as well, because that's when I started watching like the YouTube content. And again, I'm not into any of the Universal IP, but like to see her excitement in the different Harry Potter lands, I'm just like, all right, I'll watch that video again.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I started watching her and on all ears right before. It's funny how this is all full circle. My first wedding anniversary trip was going to be to Disney. I got married in June 2019. Unbeknownstly to the rest of the world, we didn't know, what was going to happen
Yeah,
about
I
six
bet you
months later.
didn't. I did not. I bet you did not have your anniversary, first year anniversary trip at Disney.
Not right away.
Yeah.
I watched a ton of her videos through that time. I got to take my husband to Disney the following September, which was a very weird version of Disney that I don't know if I ever want to experience again, honestly, because it was just so weird.
Oh, I
And
kind of loved it. There were fewer people. Was it when
well,
you
yeah.
did you have to wear masks outside? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
See, I feel like it was in September. My birthday's at the end of August, and I feel like it was a birthday trip. And we went, it was my mother and I, and we went when you had to wear masks inside, but not outside. But when I think back, I was like, wow, there was nobody in the parks. It was great.
Yeah. It was good because not a lot of people were there yet. But at the same time, it was Florida in September and it was just hot.
Oh,
And
yeah. Yeah.
just being mindful of like, okay, I do have to wear this mask. I get it. I daughter of a nurse. It was just hard to manage that bit of it, but
Yeah.
my husband and I managed. Like we figured it. We dealt with it. And then just seeing him in Galaxy's Edge for the first time because he's a Star Wars nerd, and
Mm,
I could just see the smile through the mask, and I'm like, I just wanted this to be a little better, but I understand the scenario that we're in right now. And yeah, we still made it fun, don't get me wrong. Um, but yeah, Molly,
yeah.
she's the
Well, there
best.
we go.
She's
Shout
the
outs
best.
to Molly and Mammoth Club. Brittany, this was so wonderful. We're like the new
Yeah.
Molly and Quincy from 2021 onwards. You are kind of a redhead. So this was so
Yeah.
wonderful. Is there anything you want to say about Epic Universe, especially going for solos that you didn't get a chance to before we say goodbye?
Um, Definitely put it as part of your trip.
I love it.
You won't regret it. You really won't regret it. No matter how you splice it, you're gonna find your way. The portals are 10 to 15-minute walk from each other. You're still gonna hit 12,000 plus steps a day. There's a lot of steps. I forgot to mention that
Okay.
earlier, actually, through Epic, which is mind-boggling, honestly. So your legs will hurt. Just have fun is the
I
best way.
love
It's
it.
just
I love it.
have fun.
And
So
we should also note that if you are going to Disney, like you can't just take a quick bus over to Universal or to Epic
no.
Universe, that it's better just to take a Lyft or an Uber.
Yes, the parking lots are massive. I drove the second day and the parking lot is huge. It's about maybe a 10-minute walk, just like at Disney, just park in the lot, 10-minute walk up to the gate, and you're still gonna have that feeling of, oh my God, I'm here. And I had it even the second day because then I was with a bunch of people who were seeing it for the first time. and that made it even more special. So,
That's so cool. Brittany, this was just so wonderful. Thank you again for so quickly saying that you were there
oh
solo and agreeing to this. I really enjoyed meeting you. And how can people get in touch with you if they want to book their trip or if they want to see any of your content or ask you questions or things like that?
sure. So I am on pretty much most social media. I post a lot on Instagram, either under Magical Adventures with Brit or Travel Genie 30. One of the two will have something usually. I'm on Facebook under Brittany Robertson, and I also tag in my business page, Magical Adventures with Brittany. Um, ask anything you want. I will answer it. I may be like, let me think about that for a second. But yeah, definitely find me on social. I'm there way too much in a good way, obviously.
Well, you
And
don't need to. Yeah, sorry, go.
and just message me. I'm glad to help and hopefully help you plan your next trip. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And you don't need to like look that hard because all the links to your social media are in the description of this episode. So it'll be
oh
really easy
gosh.
for people to click, and to be able to find you. And yes, of course, take advantage of your services to be able to book your trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I include
Yeah.
all sorts of goodies, tips, tricks. You get my firsthand personal knowledge from my own treks over to the park all the time, and I
Love it.
even throw in special stuff. So
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again. And maybe we'll see you in the parks.
most likely, yes,
Okay. All
absolutely.
right.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey Solos, it's Samantha. I hope you enjoyed this episode as well as all the episodes of Disney Solo Magic, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World. If you loved this solo story as much as I did, you probably will love watching it even more. The Disney Solo Magic Patreon has been reorganized to make it even easier for you to access this type of content. The Patreon has unedited videos of all the solo stories, as well as reflections on each episode, including the solo stories, an opportunity for you to vote on future episodes, and a monthly release schedule, which is always subject to change, but it's always kind of interesting to see what's planned. What's great about the solo story videos, and the reason why I really wanted to do the Patreon, is because we have so much fun having these conversations. And when you're listening to them, you don't totally get all of the looks, the gestures, the outfits, the laughing, the bloopers, the nose blowing, and all of that stuff that just make it like two friends having a great conversation. And we want you to be part of those conversations. So join Patreon now. It is $5 Canadian, which is about $4 American, $1 a week, or just over $1 a week, and that way you get access to these videos and can join the conversation and have even more fun. Plus, there is a free trial, and for those of you who signed up for the free trial in the different organization that I had for Patreon, guess what? You get to sign up for another free trial and get another week. I hope this organization of Patreon works really well for you to be able to see how fun it is to have these solo stories. And I can't wait to have more. I am booking solo stories up until September and October, so you don't want to miss access to how fun it is to have these conversations. And if there is enough of us, maybe we can have a big solo story meetup one day this summer. So please join me on Patreon, although if you're unable to join the Patreon right now, you can also support the podcast by subscribing, rating, reviewing, commenting, and sharing the Disney Solo Magic podcast to all of your friends and family across all of the platforms that we are connected with. The links to all of this is below, and I can't wait for another wonderful season of content. Bye!